and entered it into their record books and maps and database here in time. Basically, it wasn't right what they did. Now, we do know that when the Samano family came into town, they had a map. They were able to get the map of over 60-something people that were buried in that cemetery right there. Now, we've been doing this research. I've been researching the cemetery since and all that. And Doug has been doing an awful lot of research. We talk about diversity, inclusiveness, and equity. I am a marginalized, diverse person. Where is our equity? Where is our inclusiveness as far as including our language that our families went through of the history of Lafayette? That's why it's very important to include our language. We were willing to go ahead and accept the Historical Society's language and combine our language with their language. That's an appropriate thing to do. For too many years, the erasing of history has gone on too long in this town. It went on for them 200 people that weren't logged in, and now let's don't erase our language as far as what we represent and present to the city and to different staff members and everything else. Margie McIntosh, like I said, she wrote 2 books on Latino history in Boulder County here. She's a historian, and she approves our language. So we do know that our language is the appropriate language in telling the story about the Ku Klux Klan and about Henry Mathias. They all had the opportunity. The Klan was fierce to the Latinos and Catholics and to the Lafayette for many, many years. Racism, discrimination, and hate went on for many years, even when I grew up here. It was still going on, basically. It is time to settle all this, folks. Let's get this done. We've been in it too many years. It's time to close this chapter in this book and say, yeah, let's get this plaque up with the 200 names, and the Historical Society did agree to the 200 names. And it's on the last page of the information that I gave you all. And our language is also in there that was not included. And we met down there, and they were going to put the language in, but they didn't. They didn't. And that's why I'm here to speak about the importance of language. Once again, let's not erase the history of the true language. The citizens of Lafayette deserve to know why and what happened at the Lafayette Cemetery so you can basically move on. I thank you all for all these years as far as hearing me. I have done several presentations on history and that, and I will continue. And I do thank you very much for giving me the opportunity, and I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you so much. Okay, next up we have a group of students from Peak to Peak that are here to share some thoughts on the Great Kindness Challenge. They'll be pulling their time as a group, so we all call them all up at once together. This is Lauren Ferrari, Giselle Mansauer, Mina Badi, Drake Zane, and Aaron Patkar. You all may come up.
Good evening, Lafayette City Council. I am Drake John. We are representing the Character Club from Peak to Peak Elementary School. We are a group of students who have dedicated ourselves to character leadership in our school and community. We appreciate your support in passing the proclamation in January declaring the Great Kindness Challenge for our school and the greater community. We wanted to come and tell you a little bit about how it all went.
Hello, my name is Gisela Mansour. The Great Kindness Challenge is a program sponsored by Kids for Peace, a nonprofit in Southern California. In 2011, it started as a piloted program to improve school climate in 3 local schools. In the past 14 years, it has grown so much to include schools in over 115 countries, with well over 20 million students participating this year. This was our 3rd year to participate in this challenge, and we look forward to more years to come.
Hi, my name is and during the Great Kindness Challenge, we had spirit days every day, like Round Up the Kindness and Dream of Kindness days. We had conversation and lunch celebration where we played music in the cafeteria and had kind talking prompts on the table. We also took an aerial photo of the entire elementary school, and we went into classrooms for our younger grades to read books about kindness.
Hi, I'm Lauren Ferrari, and each student received a kindness checklist at the beginning of the week and tried to complete as many kind acts as possible. There were things like follow directions the first time, write a kind note to a teacher emergency room doctor, pick up trash, and help a friend when they need it. In total, our elementary students has documented 5,868 acts of kindness that week. Just think of all the ways that that kindness has rippled into our community.
Hi, I'm Maureen Petkar. On Friday, the last day of our challenge, we hosted each grade level in a celebration we called the Kind Olympics. We had 5 different activity stations, and each student was able to take home a couple of small prizes to celebrate the week. We also hosted the Kindness Assembly on this same day, where we gathered as a K-5 school and promoted the kindness that we have already done and challenged our classmates to keep the kindness going.
Hi, I'm Alexis Ball. I am the elementary counselor at Peak to Peak Elementary, and I am so proud of these 5th graders and their comrades who were not here with us today, but these are 5 of the 14 who make up the Character Club. And at Peak to Peak, we believe that kindness is one of the most important traits that an individual or a community can have. And we work on, because of this, we work on empathy, we work on respect, we work on cooperation through our Character Traits of the Month. We promote kindness because we know that receiving kindness from another person can help you feel like you belong. And when kids belong, kids learn and they thrive. And that's what we want our kids to do at Peak to Peak, and hopefully all of our schools in Lafayette and around the world, in my opinion. We are so happy to partner with the City of Lafayette, and we're so grateful that you participated in this process with us. It was very meaningful for our students to be able to see the video of you all voting for the proclamation. They felt really cool and official. So that was an awesome piece that we got to add this year, that we had the video from that meeting where you voted in the proclamation. And we just want to keep working on making Lafayette a more kind place to live and to learn. And we thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here and for hanging out at our city council meeting.
Yeah.
Congratulations, guys. Happy to connect next year as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up we have Ron Spalding.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Boy, it's so refreshing to hear this young group coming up for kindness, and I'm going to be very kind. Well, first I want to thank City Council for your efforts and next steps in addressing the impacts of the House Bill 24-1313, housing and transit-oriented communities, and impact our home rule authority. You know, as a citizen, we want to support the council. Know you're doing everything you can. So when Mayor Pro Tem Brian Wong handed out the contact your State House representative, I dutifully followed up the next day, wrote a nice little note to Representative Kyle Brown 6 days ago, and I haven't heard back. And I don't mean to say that nasty. I've worked with him before in the Marshall Fire. Treated my family very good with that. I think he's a busy man. But I'm looking around. Okay. One of my colleagues followed up on Sunday. She got a note. She followed up Sunday morning. She got a note Sunday afternoon. Great. I won't name any names, but you know. And in his response, which you all may know, but the public probably don't know, and I didn't know, that Representative Brown, in the final vote for that bill, voted against it, and saw the documentation. And in fact, the final votes were 37 for, 24 against, 0 absent, and 4 were excused. So it was a 13 representative, leeway on that. Kyle represents Lafayette, Louisville, and Boulder in House District 12. And 3 of the jurisdictions are home rule: us, Louisville, and Boulder. And as a citizen, I've been following this because you all have been so on top of it. I don't see anything happening anywhere much around the state. Around the state and other municipalities. So Colorado has 102 cities and towns that are home rule. So I'm just thinking through, what can we do as citizens? A lot of us support this, from the last meeting, and we're writing letters and this and that. And I was just wondering, and I know you don't answer, but myself, are the cities coordinating? I know you've done some discussion, you're going to do a lot more work. I'm trying to think, how can we help out? And I think Councilman Wong said that Denver Regional Council of Governments were against that legislation, and some other organizations. And I haven't had a chance to look at them all, but maybe the Colorado Municipal League. So there were a lot who were against it, good people, and it still passed. So where are we now? I may have mentioned before, the Colorado Municipal League's meeting in a couple of months, and there's anything on the agenda on that, you know? And Louisville is having a town hall with our Congressman the Goose, and Councilman Brown, and that's going to be for the public Saturday, March 22nd, 3:30 p.m. in the Monarch High School Gymnasium. You have to RSVP. I RSVP'd, looked in the agenda. There's no mention about any issue on home rule authority. That could change. Colorado Municipal League could change. But I, as a little citizen and the rest of us, what can we do to help you? And my colleague asked Representative Brown, what can we do to help him? He represents 3 of them. Don't know where he's going to be. He still favors being against that bill. And I know that Brian mentioned that at DR, Denver Regional Council of Governments, behind the scenes of talking about things. And so, you know, as a lowly citizen, we come to you. You guys are great, and gals. We write to representatives, hopefully to hear us. And I still support legal action. Everything that's going through, not, you know, I'm one voice in the thing, but when trying to check through what's happening with the state, we got the new bills being introduced and everything, maybe things are going on. I don't know if the rest of the state, the towns are just in la-la land, but it's really going to hurt us. So my presentation tonight, whatever we do, and as one person, I'm going to try to make some more inroads on myself and talk to some people, organizations. But thank you for everything you're doing. It can be repealed. Things can be repealed. We're 13 short, and we'll see what happens. So I just want to get this off my chest tonight and appreciate everything you're doing.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next up, we have Catherine Goldberg.
I'd have been a proud parent too. Good evening. My name is Catherine Goldberg. I live on Canterbury Drive at Willoughby Corner. Quick shout out to y'all to thank you for seeing that project through to fruition. My kids and I absolutely love living over there. I'm here today on behalf of Together Colorado to request the city increase its minimum wage in 2026. The city requested research to potentially increase wages back in 2023, and that data was supplied August 22nd of 2024 in a report titled Exploring Regional Minimum Wage. This was commissioned to explore community input, especially the small business community. Obviously, small businesses are the most fearful of raising minimum wage, and they'll be most impacted by potentially raising minimum wage. Right now, we're at $14.81 an hour. According to that report on page 97, it is written, quote, many businesses state that they are already paying a living wage, but increasing the floor will reduce the impact of that business's constant effort to provide a higher wage to employees, end quote. My question is, what is the definition of living wage? In 2024, DOLA put out something that says the Boulder County AMI for a one-person household is $102,000, roughly $49 an hour. $16, $17 is a third of that. That's not a living wage. Even the same report states that a minimum wage is not necessarily a self-sufficient wage. And right now, we're asking to raise minimum wage. We're not asking to get to self-sufficiency. We all know how high that would be. The Economic Policy Institute reviewed the above-mentioned report and found the study particularly focuses on teenagers and young workers, misrepresenting the fact that these workers are only a small segment of the low-wage workforce. Instead, most workers who benefit from minimum wage increases are adult workers who work full-time. The majority of workers who will benefit are adult women. I'm going to go out on a limb and claim they're probably single moms, but that's total speculation on my part. In 2023, the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment released a minimum wage report showing that Denver, despite raising its minimum wage, had an unemployment rate that remained lower than all three urban comparator jurisdictions. To those concerned that raising the minimum wage will have a negative impact, this is in fact untrue in our neighboring city. The DOLA report again states, Denver's sales tax revenues do not suffer relative to other parts of the state in the initial months after it adopted its minimum wage. Denver's sales tax revenues suffered only after the impact of COVID-19. I know many in the community have expressed that they believe it is the state's jurisdiction to determine the minimum wage. However, as you are all aware, Colorado Revised Statute 8-6-101 states, notwithstanding any other provision of law, a local government may enact through its governing body or, when available, through its initiative or referendum powers, a law establishing minimum wages. And Colorado Revised Statute 8-6-103 states, by Colorado statute, minimum wage is intended to supply a minimum necessary cost of living. The cost of living in Boulder County can never be compared to the cost of living in, say, Kiowa County. It's not a state necessary thing. The cost of living varies radically depending where you are here. I'm not arguing that small businesses and restaurants in Lafayette have honest and legitimate concerns about raising the minimum wage. I am asking both the business community and the city council to recognize that wages over $17 an hour would not potentially increase until the year 2028. If the city were to adopt the same 8% increase per year that the city of Boulder adopted. The first impacted businesses would be the ones actually paying minimum wage. And by all accounts, there don't seem to actually be too many of the businesses that are paying the bare minimum of minimum wage. Lafayette should recognize the need to increase minimum wage. With the cost of rent, food, and medical inflation, $14.81 isn't close to livable. Our safety net programs are being needed less as a net and more as a foundation. According to a worker whose testimony is on page 120 of that report, as someone who works at a local nonprofit helping people experiencing poverty, I think it would be extremely beneficial. Most times, people needing help are working but still can't make ends meet working multiple jobs. The county, local organizations, and taxpayers ultimately end up picking up the tab when families can't afford to eat or pay for other basic needs. It would benefit our community to make sure people are paid closer to a living wage. Please consider increasing the minimum wage here in Lafayette. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have Rob McClure.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for listening.
I don't know any of these people.
I appear here as an individual resident. I've been a resident for over 25 years. I'm also a member of the Sustainability and Resiliency Board, but I'm not speaking as a representative or for them. I want to speak specifically to the climate action and the resiliency amendments, or sorry, not amendments, but resolutions that you're proposing today. The first one on waste reduction, fantastic, and it shows good decisive action, to use your words, in terms of being able to help some of the businesses establish recycling, and I'm very much in support of that. The resolution, it's 2025-18, talks about, again, and I'll use your words, the City Council encourages, or potentially words, let me put it that way. The City Council encourages residents and businesses to take decisive actions to reduce their carbon footprint and to join the broader movement towards a sustainable and climate resilient future, and mentions also participating with other municipalities and things like that around that. What I want to just simply is encourage you to truly do decisive action. One of the things that many of us have talked about, again, I'm not acting as a representative of SRAB, but there's a strong interest in electrification. And, again, I know that there's no funds allocated to this work. I suspect that funds will be difficult for you to obtain with regards to this work. But I want the council to realize that in order to take decisive action, electrification has to be a major component of that. And in working with businesses and other communities, you need to really look to figure out how you can do that in a decisive way by making requirements with regards to new building, making requirements with regards to updates in existing buildings, and particularly making requirements with regards to changes in our city buildings. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, so I'm not seeing any more speaker forms in front of me, but are there any other members in person that would like to speak? Okay. Also seeing that there are no speakers online either. So with that, we will close public input and move forward with our consent agenda.
No, that's why
we have several items, including item A, March 4, 2020.
But I forgot today was Tuesday. That's our city council, people. I just wanted to show it. I'll be on later.